thank you very much for joining us today. If you'd just like to let us know who you are and maybe give us a summary of your company, your role within that.
Okay, I'm Keith Powell, I'm CEO of PolyTherics. Now, PolyTherics is a company based in London, in Camden. We're 30 people now, and what we do is improve protein and peptide therapeutics by making them last longer in the bloodstream. So, applying that to proteins and peptides takes them to a half-life in the bloodstream, which means they can change from being an interesting phenomenon into being true drugs.
And have you seen any major breakthroughs then in the last year or so?
Several actually. We've just filed another set of 3 patents on a new technology to multimerize peptide.
So what brings you down to the conference today, to BioBusiness?
Well, it's an interesting conference. It's very different to most of the other partnering conferences. So there's fewer people, but the quality looks very good.
Okay, well, we've been hearing a lot about payment structures and the way that's been changing, and therefore the interaction between the big pharmas and the biotechs. How's that impacted you, and how do you see that impacting the industry?
Well, we have a number of collaborations, both big and small. So payment structures in early stage deals tend to be very much focused on the technology and does the technology work. So payment comes when you prove the technology works. So the way we operate is to do a feasibility study with partners so that we can show that for their particular protein or peptide, the technology works. And then we move into commercial deal structures. But the deal structures aren't fundamentally changing. I think what's happening is that there are fewer compounds available in stage 2 or 3. So big pharma companies are looking earlier for technologies that can bring them products in the future.
And how do you then find you make yourself the most appealing company and actually get brought on board, or would that be giving away?
How do we? Or well, I guess the objective for us is to be a good company to work with. We deliver on time. We go the extra mile to deliver what the company wants, even if that wasn't what they asked for in the first place. You try to act as a part of their own research group. And that way you build a relationship that takes you further forward, rather than just being a arm's length type of relationship.
They're saying that there's always the overarching beast that is regulation looking in on those deals. And I was just wondering, I wanted to know how you feel that the changing regulations, how it's going to be changing for you over the coming months and year.
Regulation is clearly proving a major issue for pharma. I think it's true of any industry that as an industry matures, regulations become more and more overbearing, and pharma's just experiencing that. Crop protection experienced it 10 years ago. Now, for things like biosimilars, biobetters, the regulations are changing as we speak. So in the US, it's not clear whether a biosimilar type molecule can reach the market in a way that can be competitive to the existing product. So for that particular area, I think that the jury's out, but it could actually fundamentally change the pharmaceutical business if biosimilars come in. And what's the time scale? No one knows. So there's very much a foggy picture at the moment, and that is more dangerous than a clear, tight regulatory structure.
So what would be your one piece of advice, if you could give any, to the regulatory bodies? What would it be that would really help the industry flourish?
They have to remember that the purpose is to improve the lives of the patients, and an overbearing regulatory structure can inhibit the production of drugs which make people's lives better.
And just moving away from that now, looking more towards changing technologies, have you seen any acceleration of changing technologies? There seems to be a lot of it in the consumer world, that, as we saw earlier, even smartphones have started to come into the world of biotechnology and medicine in general. And are you seeing that's affecting your business as well?
I think we will see much more interaction between IT and therapeutics. For example, devices which inject a drug rather than the individual having to inject it themselves. You'll start to see that kind of, I've got a plug in here that is injecting the drug into me as I speak. So we don't need to look at a syringe as the only way in which a medicine can be delivered to the bloodstream.
And finally, what therapeutic areas then? Because obviously your work's spanning a huge range of areas. What do you think will see the greatest level of investment? What do you think should see the greatest level of investment in the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, I don't think it's possible to say that there's one therapeutic area that will dominate. I think what people are looking for is the next major breakthrough that allows a blockbuster to develop like Lipitor. It's not clear yet whether that kind of breakthrough is achievable. But there are many diseases for which there's no satisfactory treatment. So, if you look at the likes of Genzyme, Biomarin and so on, by starting with an orphan indication, they often end up with a very large patient population which benefit from the drug developed from the orphan.
What would you say your biggest challenges are going to be over the next 12 months?
Well, for a small company like ours, it's always to make sure that we continue to develop new relationships, satisfy the old relationships, and gradually bring forward our own molecules to take to the clinic.
And talking of those relationships then, as obviously finances are the primary concern, but what else is it that you look for in a partnership?
We want a partnership where we can see that our technology makes a difference, and where the two parties want to take that technology plus the original molecule forward into development. It's not very useful to do a relationship where you just produce something interesting and then it stops. So you're looking for a long-term relationship.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us today, and good luck with the rest of the conference.
Thank you.